Hello students. So you know that the NEET PG dates have been announced. It is on August 30th, which means that we have a solid 7 months ahead of us before NEET PG examination, and of course we also have around 3.5 months before INI-CET May. So this video is all about how should you prepare for it. If you have not started preparation, how should you go about it? If you're already studying, what changes need to be made? And we will also talk about launch of Cerebellum Mission 3.0 batch 3. Now that we have more time, a new batch is being launched. So I'll be talking about both the categories of student. Those students who are starting with the preparation, either they had not started or they did certain subjects, but because of certain reasons the preparation could not continue, and now they are as good as starting the preparation. Or students whose preparation is already going well, what changes they need to make, that would also be discussed, right? So first of all, let's talk about starting the preparation. Say you are just starting, or say you have completed very less, or say because of some reasons your preparation was not continuing, or maybe you started preparation but very superficially, very concise resources you were using, but now you have time and you want to do a proper preparation. So this is your category. This is what you need to do. As I said, if you're starting preparation today, still you have gotten a significant amount of time before both INI-CET and NEET PG. But you need to understand one thing, that exams are changing. We saw it in the NEET PG 2025 exam. We also saw it in FMG exam this year, 2026. I've just kept a question here to show you the way NB wants to ask questions nowadays. This is a question from FMG examination Jan 26, right? Read this question. A 30 or 40-year-old man living with family reports hearing voice commenting on his actions. He also says that neighbors are spying on him and wants to harm him. Which of the following indicates schizophrenia rather than delusional disorder? And this is not the only question. They are asking multiple similar questions. They are asking very deep question. Now, if you just knew what are the symptoms of schizophrenia, the duration criteria, what will happen in the examination? You would look at this question. You would say, ये कहीं पे देखा तो हुआ है, ये पढ़ा हुआ था मैंने, but it would be very difficult to answer this. This is what we mean by testing of deeper knowledge. This is becoming more and more common. More and more questions are asking you deeper content than the yesteryears. So, understanding concepts, having in-depth knowledge is absolutely necessary if you want to do well in the exams. So both NEET PG 2025 and 26 exam of FMG are telling us that concepts are important. The topics remain the same. Previous year topics of course are being repeated. They cannot discover or they cannot invent new topics, right? But what they are doing is, gone are the days when they would ask very superficial thing. Majority of the questions are clinical. Majority of the questions have a long question stem, pretty much USMLE type, and they are asking you very clinical things. So you need to deepen your understanding. You need to know the know the subject by heart, and only then you would be able to cross those numbers. Also, there has to be a balance. While of course you want to build concepts, of course you want to study deeper, but you cannot get lost. You cannot start reading cover to cover of Harrison's or Bailey and Love. That is simply impractical. Whatever you do, whatever strategy you follow, the fact that multiple revisions are a must remains as important as it was. Doing questions is becoming very important. Doing questions was always important, but it has become even more important. Why? See, even if you have knowledge, you need to know how to read those 3-4 lines of the question stem and reach the answer quickly, right? This is becoming more and more important as we are moving away from 1 and 2 liners to 4 or 5 liners, right? How to approach the question, what to read first, how to rule out options, all of that is becoming very important. And students, just theory is not going to help you. Theory of course is quintessential, but understanding how questions are solved, how questions should be approached is equally important. So doing MCQs, doing PYQs is extremely important. And all of this is going to happen only if you're following a schedule, only if you are being disciplined. If you are not following a schedule, if you are studying for one day and not studying for the next 2 days, if you are not disciplined at all, none of these goals can be achieved. So that is also equally important. Alright, so we are launching Cerebellum Mission 3.0 batch 3, and all these things that I've talked about, they are taken care of in this batch. So say you are a post intern, or say you are somebody who is not in a job, or even if you are an intern, if you have a lot of free time, say you are doing internship from such a place, what we will do, we will have daily online classes which are live. They usually start at 5:30 p.m. What live classes do is they force a discipline on you, they force a schedule on you, right? Yourself, when you are trying to do things yourself, the motivation can vary. One day you are feeling very motivated, very driven, you are completing course, next day there might be a problem. But when classes are happening live, it is a schedule that is kind of being forced upon you, and you are more likely to follow it. So that is what we call as mission classes, live classes. At the same time, if you're an intern or if you're a post intern with a job, you also have the flexibility of using recorded videos, right? And still follow the schedule. How? So you can do both things. If today I take a mission class, it is going to be uploaded in the app tomorrow, and you can watch that class in the recorded format. Or rather than following the live mission classes, you can also use the rapid revision videos of Cerebellum and follow the same schedule. So either of them. Now a very interesting thing happened. A student told me that rapid revision videos, for some it is great, but this particular student made a very good point. He said that rapid revision videos are usually very condensed, right? Live classes tend to be, of course, they are not filled with information. A conversation is happening all the time. Teacher is teaching, a student is asking questions. So there's a flow, there's a live class flow. So even if the live class is of 8 hours, sometimes it is easier to cover those 8 hours than watching a recorded rapid revision video for 4 hours, right? So that is one thing that you can keep in mind. Of course, this is not applicable to everyone. There are students who love watching rapid revision videos or main videos. If you are one of them, you can do so. Either way, whether you follow live class, whether you watch the mission classes in a recorded format or rapid revision videos, all of them are okay, but you have to follow the schedule. After a class is over, after a subject is over, or after you complete a subject using rapid revision video, you have to do these ENDs. ENDs or exam hall discussion, or what we call as test and discussion. Basically says I am teaching psychiatry. After 2 or 3 days of teaching psychiatry, on the 4th day, I will make a test live in the app. You have to take that test. In the evening again I'll come and we will have a live discussion about the test. All the questions will be discussed, the options are discussed, the approach is discussed, how to rule out a wrong option is discussed. So this starts building your capabilities of answering the question and approaching a question in a very nice manner. Apart from theory, apart from these tests and discussions, PYQs and PYTs would always remain important. First of all, they tell you what topics are being asked, what kind of questions are being asked. A lot of questions are repeats from the previous years in a modified manner. They modify it, but they are the same questions. And also you know what kind of questions are being asked, right? So that you get to know using doing the PYQs and PYTs. Now, 90% of the students perhaps say that we will do the PYQs in the end. In the last we will do it, it's important, so last mein karenge. That end never comes, that time never comes. Our experience is when the students start doing PYQs regularly from the very beginning, they get much better result. The motivation to do PYQs yourself sometimes is low. So what we do in Cerebellum is we give tests called as late night PYQs. 25, 30, 50 questions from the subject that is being covered in the classes are given in the form of a test. It gets live late at night by the time you are tired, and we are trying to give you things which are less cognitively challenging. So they are PYQs. Give 30 minutes, 35 minutes, do that late night PYQ test, and you start covering PYQs from the day one, right? And by the time you reach the examination, you have done them twice or thrice because these tests continue throughout. Midday modules. this is a solution to another problem. Students want to do custom modules from the QBank, but the QBanks have tens of thousands of questions. It is practically impossible for anybody to cover that QBank and revise that QBank in the preparation year, in the internship or post-internship. So what we do, we ask faculties that from your QBank, what are the questions that are extremely important, that are a must. So we take these questions and we create a test which we call as MDM or midday module. So you get a test of 25-30 questions every afternoon, and they are chosen by the faculty. They are the questions which are the most important ones. Many of you would be knowing that we have released a new feature called as Flashcards. Basically, to improve the retention, whatever you study, we want you to retain it for a longer period of time, and we want you to actively recall it. Active recall is when you force your brain to recall that information rather than passive recall. So if I ask you anything, say drug of choice for psychosis in a patient who has Parkinson's disease, and if I give you 4 options, when you look at the 4 options and when you answer it, it is passive recall. But when you force yourself to recall that answer which you studied in some class, that strengthens the memory connections, and that makes you remember things for a longer period of time. Also, repeatedly seeing the same information ensures that you don't forget it. That is what is called as space repetition. So active recall and space repetition put together is what helps you memorize things a lot better. Studies have shown, especially done in the students who are preparing for USMLE, that those who use flashcards end up getting 15 to 20% marks more. And you know that if you get 15-20% marks more, it means you are going from rank 5,000 to rank maybe 100, and from rank 40,000 to rank 1,000. So the trump card, right? Something that can really improve your results. And in Indian NEET PG INI-CET scenario, not many students are using it. So those who use in the beginning, they would get benefited disproportionately. Grant tests are very important. They need to be taken. Students sometimes get nervous that what if I get a bad score? You have to remember that GTs are not only for the assessment of your preparation, they are also a learning tool, right? If you do a question in GT and even if you make a mistake, you remember that question later on. So it is a learning tool. Important questions that are being given to you, even if you don't know, after the test at least you know. So keep taking GTs, and the score in GTs does not improve linearly. There is a lag period after which they start increasing. So do not get discouraged. Take GTs. They are a learning tool. They are not an assessment tool. And of course, as I said, multiple revisions is a must. Unless you do revisions at least twice or thrice before the examination, you will struggle. So that needs to be a part of your course strategy. Alright. So in Cerebellum's Mission 3.0, what are we going to do? In Cerebellum, we have labs. Typically, we have lab 1, lab 2 and lab 3. Lab 1 is the detailed lab when there are classes taken. Detailed classes, we say that the content in mission is more than rapid revision videos, less than main videos. Something which is comprehensive enough to tackle the questions that are being asked nowadays, deeper question, but concise enough that you can revise it at least thrice before the exam. So these are the mission classes. After every mission class, we have a test and discussion called as ENDs. So we are going to start from January 29th with pathology. And in around 95 days, we are going to cover all the 19 subjects live. And if I can give you data from the last exams, the strike rate of mission classes for NEET PG exam was more than 90%, which means more than 90% questions came from the mission classes. And the strike rate for INI-CET was 86%, which means if somebody had a complete hold on mission classes, he would have gotten under rank 10 in both NEET PG and INI-CET. So comprehensive content, at the same time concise enough that you can revise it at least thrice or even 4 times. So May 2nd, your classes end. INI-CET is on May 17th. So in those 15 days, we will have what is called as marathon INI-CET. In marathons, what we do, around in a space of 8-9 days, the entire syllabus is revised in live classes. Almost 10-hour classes happen daily. And in those 70-80 hours, we target every topic that is important for that exam. So because INI-CET has a slightly different pattern than NEET PG, our INI-CET marathon classes are different than marathon NEET PG. Marathon means last revision with the teachers in a span of around 80 hours. Once INI-CET is done, many of you would get selected and you would stop following any of these things. Some of you would continue with the lab 2. So lab 2 is more concise. Again, there would be live classes, there would be tests and discussions. Of course, midday modules and late night PYQs would continue, but these are comparatively classes of lesser duration. And again, the entire course is completed in the live format. Whether you want to watch it live or recorded is your call. We prefer live. And finally, you'll have lab 3 marathon NEET PG, when again the entire thing would be repeated before the exam. So first revision, second revision, third revision at least, and we hope that during this period you also keep revising yourself, so that makes it the 4 revision. That makes it 4 revisions before the examination. So this is a schedule. Batch 3. So we are starting with pathology. Now pathology would be covered in 5 days, 29th, 30th, 31st, 1st and 2nd of Feb. And then another day for the test and discussion. Then we go to biochemistry, 4 days, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Surgery, of course, more days, micro, psychiatry, pharmacology, so on and so forth. And we'll keep on having GTs in between. Right? As you can see, bigger subjects have been given 5, 6, 7 days. Shorter subjects have been given lesser days, 2 days. Right? And wherever you see this +1, it means the END day. So we are going to end on 2nd of May, after which we'll start with the marathon INI-CET. And after marathon INI-CET, after INI-CET exam, we'll have another lab, another schedule of the classes. How to use Mission 3.0 effectively? In a very short span of time, Mission has become one of the most sought after exam. One of the reasons is it makes you show up every day. The entrance exam preparation is such a long and tedious process that motivation tends to fluctuate. These classes and these END schedule forces you to follow a pattern, and that perhaps the structure of the Mission program is perhaps its biggest advantage. In the evening you attend live class, or you watch the video of the live class or rapid revision video. At night appear for late night PYQ marathon. In the morning revise it using the notes and do the midday module, and then in the evening the next class starts. As I said, the game changer here is flashcard. All I'm asking for is 2 sessions of 20 minutes each. 2 sessions of 20 minutes each. This is enough to do 100 cards a day. And if you start doing 100 cards a day from today, by the time you reach the examination, you have actively recalled and you have undergone spaced repetition of important topics. And in flashcards, we have this option of bookmarks, and we have different kind of bookmarks. Keep bookmarking certain cards so that in the last 24, 48, 72 hours, you know what to read. There are many students who have been using flashcards, different kind of flashcards, and they say that one of the best part is revising the entire exam in the last 1 week or last 3-4 days. Everybody's lost what to do, what to leave. But when you have these flashcards, you know what to read and what to revise in those last 48, 72 hours or 7 days. So that alone, revising the entire thing in last 7 days is going to give you a massive edge. Do subject-wise test and discussion. See how you apply your knowledge. See how teacher approaches a question. See how you rule out the incorrect options. Keep doing grand tests and follow the labs, right? What if you miss a class? Some backlog tends to develop for almost everyone. Sometimes you will have duties, sometimes you will fall sick, sometimes you will just not feel like studying. As I said, all the classes are recorded and you can watch them later. But even if you miss one subject, don't let the entire schedule get derailed. Continue with the next subject and keep it as a backlog. Lab 2 will come, lab 3 will come, in between holidays would come, in between breaks would come. Use those days to complete that subject, right? So keep following the schedule. Even if there is one subject getting dropped, that's okay. So this is what I mean by slip should not convert into relapse or relapse, right? If you just because you could not cover one subject along with the teacher or according to the schedule does not mean that you just leave the complete schedule behind. And as I said, there are multiple labs. You'll keep on getting chances to cover them. Notes. So we suggest that you use quick revision notes along with these classes. They are concise and you can keep on making them further concise by using underlinings or by using highlighters. Those things you can do so that every lap you are revising lesser and lesser material. Timings, the classes usually start at 5:30 p.m. in the evening for some subjects, clinical subjects especially. Sometimes faculties have their OPDs and all, so they will tell you beforehand, 24 hours at least, when would the class start. As I said, if you miss a class, you can always go and watch the recorded video. If you have used another source, any other platform or any other thing, even then the schedule, the structure remains very important. Say you have done some subject from any other platform and you are very confident about it. And say you have done psychiatry from somewhere else. So when in those 2 days I am covering psychiatry, you review it from your place. Or you just sit in the class and passively revise with me because content remains more or less the same. But you definitely have to take the test. You definitely have to take the test and attend the discussion so that you complete that subject there and then. If you have done it from somewhere else and you don't really recall it, then I would strongly advise you do the class or you do our rapid revision video or revise from your place, but again do the ENDs. If you are a BTR only subscriber, again I would very strongly advise that do follow mission classes, right? So you have some knowledge because of the BTR. Now built on that knowledge, as I said, the questions are becoming very deep and it's very important that you go deeper into the content. Otherwise the problem is people are able to see if I teach you all the PYQs from the last 10 years, right? On the day of the examination, you would be able to identify everything. You would have this feeling that I have seen it somewhere, but you may not be able to answer it unless you have some deeper knowledge. That is why doing mission classes and rapid revision video is a must. Nobody should nobody should go into the examination without doing at least mission classes or rapid revision videos. Alright. And then you of course get complete access to main videos in English and English. Medicine is not in English, but others are. In case you are very weak in one topic, you can go and watch main videos. But as I said, mission classes are in itself quite comprehensive, at the same time concise. So the requirement is usually not there. QBank, as I said, it has been an enigma. Now with the help of midday modules, you know what are the important parts of QBank and all of this you get. So if you are not a student of Cerebellum till now, you can go onto our website, look at the plans. You'll find it here, mission plans for NEET PG and INI-CET, and you take mission 3.0 complete pack. It comes with everything, right? The price I think for 6 months is some 25k and for 1 year it is some 32, 33k. I'm not very sure about it, but it is in the same range. There's a coupon code called as Cerebellum that you can apply while buying it and it will give you I think 1000 discount. If you're a BTR student and if you're upgrading, you can use the coupon code BTR upgrade. BTR upgrade, it gives I think some 10,000 of discount, so you don't have to spend money twice, right? So students, this is a very important time. It is an excellent opportunity, and this is a time when we deepen our knowledge, when we start preparation if we have not started, and when we start following a structure. And as I showed you, the labs, they are a great way of staying on course and completing revisions multiple times before you take the examination, and finally you end up getting great results. So start studying hard, and now we have the dates. Let's focus on these examination dates and cover everything. All the best.